Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Today's video is going to be the Spring 3 final race here at Lone Star Kartpark. Now, for those of you who have not seen my pre-final race, go ahead and click the top right hand corner of your screen. Go check that out. But for those of you who have seen it, but just don't remember how it went, basically I started in 8th, dropped down to like 11th, and then worked my way up to 6th. So that's where we're starting in this final. We're starting in 6th place. It's on the outside. Not the best place to start, but this track is quite wide, so the outside isn't the worst place to start. You can definitely still gain positions on the outside, so that's what we're going to hope for at the beginning. Now, usually in these races, I have some sort of strategy on how I'm going to gain positions at the start, but for this race, I decided I was just going to wing it, see how it goes, and just go from there. So we're going down the main straight here. We're going to leave a bit of a gap to the next kart in front. We don't want to bang into the back of him in case he gets a bad start. So we're waiting for the flagman to wave green. Flagman waves green, we're good to go. So right off the bat, we move up into 5th place pretty quickly. We did get a pretty decent start. Going to this first corner up ahead, we're going to hold the inside. Don't want anyone diving up the inside. And then going through the second left-hander up ahead, we're going to have the inside yet again, move up into 4th place. And so now we can see the top 3 in front of us. We've gained 2 positions so far. The lap is not over yet. We can still gain some more. I feel like I've got a decent kart so far. They're not really pulling away from me too much. Handling feels fine, so all is good so far. Going through this left-hander up ahead, guy in second goes pretty wide, and so I'm going to make it 3 wide going through these next couple of corners, but I'm going to have to back off to the guy in second. But we did gain 1 position, so we're up into 3rd place now. And so by the end of lap 1, we've jumped from 6th to 3rd. So we're going down the main straight here. We can see that my kart has pretty good top end. Not only am I keeping up with the karts in front, but I'm actually gaining a little. But one thing I did notice is that the brake pedal had a fair bit of play in it, so that's why I went a little deep back there in that left-hander. The guy in 4th is still on my inside going to the second left-hander, so I'm going to have to give the position to him. There is a fair bit of people behind me right now, so if I fight too much, there is a chance that they are going to all pass me at the same time. So in a scenario like this, you really got to choose your moves wisely. Going through the second left-hander, though, the people from behind do bump me out wide, and unfortunately I do drop down into 7th place. But they are fighting a fair bit, and so I jump back up into 5th place. Going through the last couple of corners here, guy in white passes the guy in green, and so I follow him, and so we move up into 4th place. So by the end of lap 2, start of lap 3, we have lost 1 position. It is still the early stages of this race, so it's nothing to worry about too much. So at this point in the race, I know I've got a decent kart, and so I'm going to try and work my way through the pack. There's only 3 people in front of me, so it shouldn't be too hard, but near the front, people tend to have faster karts and tend to be better drivers, so it does make it a little harder to pass people. But like I said before, there are a fair bit of people behind me, so I don't want to do anything too stupid because then I could be going backwards. And for those of you new to racing, you don't want to be going backwards. So going through these last couple of corners here, we are right on the bumper of the guy in white here. I don't think I have enough top end to pass him going through the first couple of corners here, but if he leaves the door open going into the first left-hander, not this first left-hander, but like the first braking zone left-hander, we're going to go for it. So he leaves the door open. We go for the move on the inside. He tries holding it around the outside, and so I give him room on the outside, but that means I've got the inside for the second left-hander here, and we take 3rd place. So looking further ahead, we can see that the leader has a bit of a gap to the guy in second. So that means we got to get around the guy in second as fast as possible, sooner rather than later. Like I said, we have to be smart about it too, because we don't want the leader to pull away too much because we're fighting. So we got to really time our passes correctly and don't be stupid about it. Fortunately, the guy in second does make a mistake going through the last corner. He's going to take too much of that curbing, and so that's going to ruin his momentum. Going down the straight here, I am going to get along beside him. I have the inside for the next couple of corners, and we're going to move up into P2. So we can see that the guy in first has quite a large gap on us. It's about 2 or 3 seconds, which in racing is quite a lot. And so it's going to be hard to catch up to him. I think he's got a decent kart as well. My kart might have been a little faster. I think when I was behind him earlier in this race, I did catch up to him, but it wasn't a lot. And so it is going to be very hard to catch up to him. I don't have to worry about anyone from behind. The people from behind have spaced out quite a bit, so I don't have to worry about anyone dive bombing me or getting freight trained by anyone. So the gap, like I said, is quite large, and especially when you're about the same speed, it can be very hard to close that gap because it'll take a while. And I will say, at the end of this race, I was a tenth or two faster than him. That's just based off of fastest lap. You know, he could have had one stellar fastest lap. I don't know what his average lap was, but he was about a tenth or two slower than me compared to the fastest lap. So if he's a tenth slower than me, it's going to take 10 laps to close down a 1 second gap. So it is going to take a while. Coming out of the double right-hander, I do look behind me. I point forward. There is someone behind me. I know who he is. He is pretty quick. And so I'm telling him, hey, let's not fight. The guy in first is pretty far ahead, but I think if we work together, we can catch up to him because we're on lap 6. We're about to end lap 7. We still have a fair bit of laps left in this race, so it's not over yet. Now, I've had some people ask me about lap times around specific tracks. I don't usually keep track of those lap times once the race is over because they're no longer relevant to me. I will say for this race, I set the second fastest lap of the event. The guy behind me actually set the fastest lap time, and it was only by 0.006 of a second, so almost identical. A little frustrating when that happens because you want to be the fastest guy, but it is a race, so it doesn't really matter too much. But my fastest lap was a 48.2, which, like I said, was the second fastest lap of not just this race, but the entire event. So out of all the races, it was the second fastest lap. I will say the last pre-final I did, not the Spring 3 pre-final, but the Spring 2 pre-final. If you don't know what I'm talking about, click the top right-hand corner of your screen. That race, I had this exact same cart number 7, and my fastest lap of that race was a 49.2. And that race, I set the fastest lap of the entire event. So about a second difference. I don't know what they've done differently. This cart's a second faster. It could be they've messed with the carts or the weather's different, but it does depend when you come and what cart you have, so do keep that in mind. So we're on a lap 11 now. Like I said, we did slowly catch up to the guy in first, but the gap was quite large and we were only about a tenth, maybe 2 faster per lap. And like I said, it does take a while to catch up to someone when you're only just a fraction a bit faster than them. So we only have 2 more laps left in this race. And so it's looking like first place is going to be out of the equation. He still could make a mistake. Anything can happen, but the guy in third, I think, is realizing the same thing. And so going through this left-hander up ahead, I'm going to go a little wide. And so he's going to take full advantage of this, and he's going to go up the inside. And so we're going to drop down into third place. And so now this is just going to turn into a battle for second place. I think the guy in first, he's driven a really good race, and so he's going to take home the victory. It's going to be a little too far ahead. So going through these first couple of corners here, I'm going to be on the bumper of the guy in second. Going to this left-hander up ahead, he leaves the door open. I send it up the inside, go really deep, and unfortunately go way too deep. Put my hand up. That was me acknowledging that I just ruined my chances of getting second place. So unfortunately, I just outbraked myself. Just a silly mistake. Thought I had better brakes, but apparently I didn't. And so now we've kind of ruined our chances of getting first or second, which is unfortunate because I think we could have had a chance at second. P1 did drive a pretty good race, but I think second was still on the table. There's no one behind me. Fourth place is quite a long ways behind me, so I don't have to worry about that. Just have to bring the cart home and finish in third place. So we qualified in 8th, finished the pre-final in 6th. In the final, started 6th, and then we were in second for quite a while. Again, I think I could have played my cards a little better there, but the guy in second did a really good job. He stayed with me, so good driving from him. Guy in first did a really consistent race too, really well earned by him. Both of them really good drivers. Really fun race. Pretty happy with that result, but that's all I'm going to have for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please do comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.